we are going to talk about this article. A shorter working week for everyone, how much paid work is needed for mental health and well-being.
So, let's get into it.
Nowadays, and for the past years, technological developments have been replacing human workforce. There are even predictions that in the future, between 9 to 47% of the jobs in developed countries are going to be automated. This fast-changing technological environment could result in a significant shortage of paid work and can lead to a mass and historical levels of unemployment. The consequences of these factors are critical to consider since they include a risk for public health and social welfare. So the question is, why are high levels of job losses related to social well-being? Firstly, unemployment and economic inactivity are associated with the loss of ability to control one's life and can affect the way the individual will be perceived and judged by the society, which in turn leads to social judgment. Second, the benefits of working go beyond the income. They include collective purpose, social contacts, and personal identity. The loss of these benefits can result in severe damage, connecting unemployment and underemployment to a poor health outcomes, both physical and mental.
So, considering these aspects, policymakers, employers, leaders believe that a shortened working week for everyone is a solution. Reduced working hours is preferable than losing jobs due to artificial intelligence. For this reason, this article is going to address two main topics. The first topic is understand how many hours are the hours needed for the employers to gain all the social benefits that paid work usually brings. Second is understanding what is the optimum amount of paid work at which employers reach their highest levels of well-being. A proper answer to these questions can help theorizing important policies in the work environment. For example, it can help leaders decreasing unemployment. However, and before getting deep into the article, it's important to understand why is mental health so relevant. Mental health is a state of well-being that includes emotional, physiological, and social aspects of the individual's life. It impacts each person's productivity, relationships, potential, and stress management. Basically, it has effects on how we feel, act, and think. Mental health can also have consequences in the workplace in terms of employees' motivation, since it lowers job performance and engagement, affecting the communication with co-workers, which is a big part of working in a team. Nowadays, people are more conscious and concerned about mental health and its impacts on companies and communities. What used to be a conversation taboo is now a common theme that has been generating a lot of discussion and, above all, awareness.
Now that mental health, its importance in a person's life and its effect on companies are better clarified, it's time to go back to the article. The group decided to select this topic since every member agreed to its importance and shared the same interest for it, mainly for two reasons. First, the raising acknowledgement and conversations about mental health, its relationship with motivation and consequently work productivity appear to be a very attractive way to relate this topic with the themes discussed in class. Secondly, all the members find the topic about a 4-day work week, which has been discussed over the media in the past years, very engaging, and this work represented a good opportunity to better understand what the consequences of this potential reality regarding workers' motivation and consequently productivity would be. The study used data and health outcomes from the UK household longitudinal study. The sample consisted of a number around 150,000 people, from which there were unemployed, economically inactive, and employed people. The dependent variables were a 12-item indicator from the General Health Questionnaire that is used for measurement of psychiatric illness and distress, and a life satisfaction indicator that captured the well-being of the subjects. The main independent variable was the number of hours of work expected per week, but also others that influence employment status and mental well-being, such as age, marital status, children, and illnesses. After this, fixed effects regression models were used to examine the linkage between the changes in working hours and the mental well-being of the subjects in study. The first analysis goal was to investigate the transition between unemployment or inactivity and employment estimating the minimum working hours needed for mental well-being, as the second analysis was regarding the optimal number of working hours.
So, the empirical evidence we can take from this article is that working 8 hours a week is the minimum to maintain employee mental health and social welfare. Moreover, it wasn't found any statistical evidence that employees who work from 8 up to 48 hours a week have any improvement in their well-being. Since there is any optimal working hour that allows to obtain the highest mental health levels, this implies that it's possible to reduce the working week and still keep the benefits, which allows companies to maintain their employees even with the upcoming technological advancements and avoid mass levels of unemployment.
So the question now is how this topic can affect and contribute to the business reality. From the data provided and the conclusions obtained, the direct implication we take from this is that reducing unemployment will increase the general well-being. According to the article, the current policy alternatives that deal with unemployment have centered on measures like the universal basic income that provide economic help for those who are unemployed. The paper's findings suggest a different approach, the social redistribution of working hours. The issue will be developing strategies to cut and redistribute the working hours so that most of the people can benefit from paid work. Working 5 shorter days or lowering the length of a normal, typical working week could be part of the solution.
Especially recently because of the COVID-19 world situation, which raised concerns about people's well-being to the top of business agenda. With the pandemic, the increase in unemployment and inactivity has been severe between February and July 2020. Employment among adults declined by 5.1%, while employment among young adults fell by 17.4%. These socio-economical changes had of course a big impact on the population, well-being and life satisfaction.
Besides the levels of unemployment, there were other negative aspects. The workplace that were in companies moved to employees' home. Due to that, the clear barriers that existed between working hours and free time were annihilated. This led to an increase in involuntary extra working time and a decrease in employees' well-being. For that reason, countries implemented labor laws to prevent companies to use employees' free time. One example of this is in Portugal, where bosses were forbidden to send work-related messages outside working hours. This shows the importance to companies to analyze and reshape employees' working hours in order to improve their productivity and without neglecting their well-being.
To sum up the main ideas, the article emphasizes a current issue in which companies are investing even more: improve employees' well-being and how that affects their motivation and job performance.
The major insight that we can take from this article is that companies are addressing their employees' working hours in order to enhance employee motivation and welfare to boost their performance. Although there is no solution, there is an incentive for companies to explore their employees' profile and find appropriate working hours for their employees. Thank you so much for watching our presentation. We hope you liked our video and our explanations. Bye!